Okay, Simon says, hey, kampai!
Kampai!
Cheers.
Hello, welcome to week 947.
What are you drinking this time?
I'm drinking rosé wine.
Rosé. It looks more like
It's fizzy.
No.
It's sparkling carver rosé.
Get you. And
Yeah, some oldie.
Is that a crystal glass you're drinking it from?
Yes, from Lidl. It's a little crystal glass and an oldie carver from Barcelona. I'm a very big fan of Barcelona. And it didn't cost $5.99.
Excellent. It costs $6.99.
No, $4.99.
Right, who's starting today then?
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Brewdog.
Oh, nice. Very good.
IPA.
Very good.
I think the Scottish, yeah. The Scottish.
We're not complete lager louts then.
Yeah. An IPA, a punk IPA nonetheless.
If we get to episode 10, I'm going to order some grapefruit sours from Japan, and I'll send you some.
Sumimasen. So,
Right. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Oh,
You and me. Go on, you go first then.
Okay, so I did a Q grading yesterday at HDKI Winchcombe, which was very good, really, really nice. And I had a couple of questions, and the first question was, what do you think moving forward? How are we going to deal with kumite in gradings and especially Dan gradings? Because I noticed today Henry Bellinger posted that JKS did the first high Dan gradings this week.
Yeah.
And they used those face masks which you see in Japan with with a mask on and a helmet.
Yeah.
And they limited that to one bout, and I thought that was really interesting.
Well, actually, because you mentioned that, like I got a message from you, so I actually, that was one of my questions. You stole my question.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
Alike.
I think it was actually JKF.
JKF. Sorry, it was JKF. Yeah.
And so how do we cope with kumite with grading?
Well, we're hopefully that we're going to do a grading in December, aren't we? HDKI senior Dan grading.
Yeah.
And I know there's at least one candidate wanted to do third Dan.
Yeah.
Probably you, like me, or I can't imagine doing any serious grading.
Yeah.
Without kumite.
Yeah.
So I mean, I did a kids grading, and we could do, it was all Q grade, so we managed to do it. We did go on kumite socially distanced, and all I looked for was proper Jodan, proper Chudan, proper blocks, proper timing, and it actually worked, fine for, no one higher than sort of, purple belt, it was fine.
Well, because I was thinking about it, and what I think is that, first of all, like I only briefly looked at what Henry posted, and it was like some guy taking Rokudan, and they were doing one bout with the face mask on and everything. And like, okay, some guy who's Rokudan, he's probably going to be more senior in age, and
nearly dead, probably.
He's dead now. So I guess one bout, like he's not going to really try to dominate a series of fights. It's not like Sandan grading where it's like the physically the hardest grading, right? So I mean,
you should be able to show strategy and
But I think for Sandan grading, say there's someone at Christmas who wants to take Sandan, that's a big deal. That's a physical grading, and so I mean, there's a couple of things. I think when someone grades, it has to be that that's part of their journey, and it's the climax of a journey that they've been on for at least 3 years, from taking their knee down to the Sandan, probably longer. And so to shortchange people with a kind of easy grading because of current circumstances, I think is a little bit kind of unfair on them. And also everyone who has gone before them and after them who will kind of grade in normal circumstances. So I'm a bit reticent to kind of say, let's just have like one bout of kind of protective kumite, just so we can get a grading done. And there's a balance there, because like if they've been working hard and blah, and they have to get is kind of important for them to grade, and we can do it in a way that is kind of safe, then so be it. But I wouldn't want to shortchange them, and also shortchange everybody else who has gone before them or will go afterwards.
Oh, so, yeah. So does that mean we don't do it?
That means that we see where we are in December. You know, I mean, like, that's the thing, isn't it? We're 2 months away, and you know, if it's current circumstances where there's zero contact allowed, and they, you know, they can't go anywhere near each other, there's no kumite, no kiais, like in maybe current regulations, then I think it would be very difficult to justify a grading for that level. And also, you know, like, they've waited 3 years, well, then waiting another 6 months is not the end of the world.
I mean, just as a sidebar, then, you know, tell us about your third. Do you remember your third Dan grading? I remember mine.
I do remember mine, yeah, I failed it.
Tell us about yours, and I'll tell you about mine.
Well, I was the golden boy of the group.
So everyone just smash your teeth out.
No, not well, probably, but like I was, you know, I was traveling around with. I was like, you know, it was my 4th year at university, and I was traveling everywhere with Kato Sensei, like assisting him and everything, and so I took it in the summer of my last year at university, and I 1996 it was, and I did the Kihon, and like, you know, I was the guy that Kato Sensei used to get me up to demonstrate to everyone else how it should be done. So like, and I knew the syllabus, because he was kind of working on this new syllabus. It was at the time when he'd kind of been kind of thrown out of the JKA, and it was the IJK had suddenly kind of, you know, sprung up. We didn't really know that much at the time, but certainly, and he was kind of, you know, restructuring the group, and what the IJK then became. And so he had this new syllabus, and so I was like demonstrating weekly. Like, wherever we would travel, he would demonstrate certain aspects of the syllabus, and he's like, "Oh, Scott, demonstrate." So I got up to do my Kihon. I kind of knew it off by heart, no problem. Yeah. I did kumite, and yeah, I did 3 kind of tough fights, tough guys, but like, you know, I held my own. I did all right. And kata, I did Sochin, smashed it. I mean, I was like, I think I was European champion at the time, and then I did Kanku Dai, and we had been practicing over and over and over.
Oh, again. Is this? Oh, okay. Is this one?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Kankusho every week in, week out at normal regular training at his dojo. Right. Kankusho. And so I got to do the given kata, and he said Kankudai. Yeah, okay, Kankudai. So did it, blah blah blah. Got to kind of like where are we? There. And instead of doing the Kiyagi, I did Manjigamai. Manjigamai, and then went back into Shita. Like, I carried on. So instead of doing 2 Kiyagis, I did Manjigamai Kagizuki, and didn't even notice, to be honest. Like, I was just like, yeah, and I came back.
Shodai.
Huh?
Kanku Shodai.
Kanku Shodai, yeah. And so came back, you're happy, yeah, that's my grading over with. And Kato Sensei had a big grin. And he was like, okay, yeah, sit down. And I sat down, and they were like, oh, Scott. I was like, what? Scott, isn't it?
Everything's good.
Yeah. And they're like, no. Like, you know, anybody else, he would have said, oh, you silly bugger, one more time. But no, not me. He was like, sit down. So then everybody got up. There was a few people grading, and everybody got up. And he went through everybody, and I was probably the last. And he says, oh, Scott, Kihon, very good pass. Kumite, very good pass. Kata, very good pass. But unfortunately, fail. I was like, he says, until you do Kankudai 100 times. And he went, okay, Hajime. I was like, it was at the end of a weekend seminar. We trained Friday night, all day Saturday, and it was probably about 2 o'clock on the Sunday afternoon. We trained all Sunday morning, and then so I did. And he got a guy called Paul Katowski, one of my senpai, count. So I think I did. So that was the Sunday, and then so I think I did maybe 20 times then. maybe 30. I did it 30 times after the course, and then on the Monday, regular Monday training, which was at his dojo, I did it another 40 times or 30 times, and then then we had university training on the Tuesday, and I did it 40 times then, because university training was 2 hours, so I was just off by myself doing it 40 times. And so I did it 100 times, and then we went back to his dojo on the Wednesday, because his training was Monday, Wednesday. University was Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. So we went back to his dojo on the Wednesday, and Paul Katowski was there, and he said, "So?" Paul was like, "Yes, Sensei, he's done it 100 times." And he was like, "Oh, congratulations, Sandan pass." And it was just everybody wanted on the seminar, when everybody from all over the country was there, all were like, "Oh, well, you've passed really, so congratulations." Like, "I haven't passed." "Oh, you have. No, I haven't passed. I failed it." And then on the Wednesday, when it was just like 4 or 5 of us, everybody was like, "Oh yeah, congratulations." But it was like, yeah, there's no one here, But ever since then, I hate Kankudai. I have no fun for it.
Yeah, we see that this leads on to the later question about the best of times being the worst of times.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you want for a Sandan grading.
Yeah,
But my Sandan grading was the best grading I've ever done.
Yeah.
Because I was Nidan for like about 8 years, and no one ever said anything. And one day Osi said to me, "What grade are you Sandan?" "No, you Crystal Palace, do it."
Yeah.
So anyway, so I did it, and it was Crystal Palace. I did all my go to Crystal Palace. I was annoyed a sense in all the panel, and it was like a fighting grade. And I fought these two giants. They were massive Norwegian, Swedish fellas, and some English bloke.
Yeah.
It was a right old ding dong, and I got swept, and I swept them and kicked him in the head, bing bong bash. And it was the only grading I've ever. And we did this Kaiju Ippon as well for some. They just brought that in, which is I think it's a really bad idea to do for a grading, because it's a recipe for disaster, really.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, I'd worked on something from that as well. So that was my best grading. And at the end, it was like, in front of everybody, it was like, yeah. And it was a fighting grading, and it was good. Yeah. And I think that's what we need to keep, Yeah. I mean, do you think, yeah, I think your argument for waiting is a good one. But maybe for Shodan, for Jiwipon, is the leeway there?
I mean, I think with Jiwipon, it's like, if you think about kind of social distances is like 2 arms length away from you, then the distance for Jiwipon Kumite or Ju Kumite anyway is that distance. And the brief moment, like when they attack, you're retreating, and that the briefest of moments when you're going in to counter and back, well, you're still arm's length, So that's kind of like a meter. So if you were in France, that's fine. Like in France, it's
let's do more in France.
Yeah.
No, see, I think in Jiwipon, because we're looking for that compression and release thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think but then for Nidan, you've still got to do proper Kumite, haven't you?
I mean, we'll see how we go, and we'll see what the situation is. But I think for Shodan, it's more than doable.
I'd like to think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for Nidan, maybe Nidan above, maybe, but we'll see. We'll just have to make that decision on the day.
And then just the add-on for that question is that someone asked me is about grading. Quite a few kids were getting near brown belt and stuff, and someone asked me, do we have a junior brown belt? And I said junior black belt, and I said no. So I mean, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about? Is there an age limit for Shodan? Like pre-12?
Yeah. I mean, there's no age limit. Like there's no age minimum.
Yeah.
I gave a black belt to Sam in my dojo. He was 9 years old.
He's good. I know Sam. He's good.
Yeah.
I might be there.
Yeah. I think, really. So there's no. I mean, like the only I wouldn't differentiate between the thing about that. The differentiating of junior and senior Shodan is that the thing is that that means you're distinguishing between strength. You're saying technically they're good enough. They just don't have the physical strength. Well, that's like giving a male and a female Shodan. We would never do that.
Big person, small person Shodan.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like where do you stop if you're just like talking about strength? Like ultimately, it's fulfillment of individual potential, and is that 9-year-old fulfilling his unique potential. And I'm
That was
sure.
good. I was at that grading.
Yeah.
He was like, could we always go back to quality again, weren't they? He was
Yeah.
capable, good.
Yeah. I mean, I was very, because he's not really my student. I mean, he's part of my dojo, but Ross teaches him most of the time, and well, almost always. And so I was really reticent when he said, "Oh, Sam's ready for his show," and I was like, "What? You kidding me?" But like, then I took a look at him, and he came and trained a few of my classes, and I was like, holding this kid back will just be about how old he is, and I wasn't going to do that. So, okay, my turn then. My question. So, I am always feeling tired, and I have done for the last, I don't know, at least 30 years. When does karate supposed to make you feel genki? And for those who don't know what genki means, genki is Japanese for someone who is full of energy.
Yeah, okay. So my recipe for genkiness is you have a ridiculously hard, challenging session, and somehow you drag yourself through it and you finish it, and then you feel super genki.
So
I think so.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, no. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the semi-frivolous answer, but it's true.
Yeah.
I often feel, and I often you literally not, you sort of reluctantly drag yourself to the dojo.
Mm.
You throw yourself into the training, and afterwards you feel great. And in our karate lifetimes, how many times have you felt that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt it lots and lots of times.
Yeah, for sure. I think I said last time that, like, the pleasure in karate is purely cathartic.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of leading on to my next question, really. I mean, no, but the I don't know. Recently, I've managed to feel great by just being really, really fit.
Yeah.
Without being cocky. But
Yeah.
I mean, over lockdown, I actually, stopped drinking for quite a long time. I'm eating really well, and I definitely feel energized that way. And it's like an inconvenient truth. It's like, hey, guess what? If you don't drink a lot, and if you don't eat rubbish food, and you eat food that's good for you, I do feel good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the truth of it, really.
Yeah. I think there's an issue though, and like maybe you feel it more being slightly older than me, but there's a thing about kind of inflammation in the body.
Yeah.
And as you get older, and if you maintain a high intensity level of training, that it does produce inflammation.
Yes.
So, and I think inflammation is one of those, like when people are really sick and they die and stuff. Like, a lot of it is because of inflammation. It's what they don't really they don't really die of the disease they have. They die because of the inflammation that the disease has caused.
Yeah, you get a great big liver and you die, don't you?
Yeah.
I've got a big left knee. I mean, my left knee's bigger than my right knee.
I don't think it's a killer left knee though. You'll be fine.
I don't need a left knee. Yeah, it's the arthritis,
But I think maintaining that kind of or trying to reduce inflammation, I think is something that I'm kind of fighting as well, and all those bad foods cause inflammation, but also excessively training hard causes it as well. So it's just kind of creating balance, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like literally, I've been doing long runs now since about April.
Yeah.
And I've stopped running completely, and I run on my toes, really slow, run long, an hour, hour and a half, hour 45, which is really like a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And I feel better for it. It's one of those things that they always say, like, there's a great story about ballet dancers. If a ballet dancer doesn't train for a day, they know. They don't train for 2 days, their partner knows. They don't train for 3 days, the audience knows.
Right.
Which is quite like. But then also in terms of if you do any sort of hard physical training, after a certain amount of time, you notice. But the important time is when your friends notice. So again, without blowing my own trumpet, when I turned up in Ireland last time I saw you, Tor said, "Oh, you look good."
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, I do, don't I?
Yeah.
And that was sort of just down to changing my lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm finding it hard to sustain. I'm now winter's here. I mean, it's harder to run now.
I was going to say you didn't look so good when you went home.
No, well, that's because well, you know, I'm not too bad now, but I mean, because it's harder now because of the weather.
Mm.
You know, but no, you're right. I mean, it's life, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
we're machines. Our machines. You know, I think I've said this before. If I was a car, I'm a 1960s Ford, well-maintained 1960s Ford, and
Yeah.
that you know,
Yeah.
you are just going to change.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing you might not, it's worth remembering is I look at people a lot, you know, and if you
Mm.
look at people who don't train,
Mm.
everything hurts and they can't even function. And
Yeah.
something like sitting on the floor and standing up again is semi-impossible and
Yeah.
is like really, really hurty. So
Yeah.
our level of hurty is completely different to theirs.
Yeah. And
And
it's one
we're
of those.
here to do it anyway.
It's one of those physical kind of challenges, isn't it, to see how young your body is? Is that
Yeah,
if you're sitting on the floor and cross-legged,
yeah,
then if you can stand up without using any other limb, you're
yeah,
20 years old. And for every limb that touches the ground, you're 10 years older. So if you can just kind of push up from your feet,
yeah.
20 years old. If you have to go onto one knee, you're 30.
That's what I have to do one minute. Yeah,
One knee and one hand, you're 40. Both
yeah,
knees, both hands, like you're 60. So it's a really good challenge. I still do it. I still see if I can sit cross-legged and push up
yeah.
without kind of using any other part of my body.
I can't now.
Yeah,
I have to use the knee. But
yeah,
I'm still happy with that.
yeah. But
But I
like,
mean, you know,
so
I mean, lots of people, you know, my age or younger than my age, just literally think all that kind of thing is ridiculous and impossible.
yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, you know, this is a good question in terms of karate. You know, where do we go with it? You know,
mm,
it's because, like, you know, cycling is interesting because cyclists can keep going. It's an endurance event. It's non-weight bearing.
yeah.
Older cyclists tend to be much better at doing long distance. I'm
Oh,
finding now I can run longer than I ever run before.
yeah,
I'm a sprinter. I'm a fast twitch sprinty guy.
yeah,
So, you know, what do we do with our karate?
yeah,
I suppose Tai Chi is the answer.
yeah. I think,
Or do karate like you do Tai Chi.
yeah. Also, I think if you look at like the likes of like Steve Hubel or Paulo Blafio,
Yeah.
the level of efficiency there that you can do the same thing with the same intensity with far less kind of effort.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like I want to.
My theory about Chi is I think Chi is good technique
Yeah,
or perfect technique or like you effortless power.
yeah,
And
and
I think it probably, I mean, I'm the most least mathematical person in the world, but I'm sure you could probably do someone could do a mathematical formula of the
yeah,
best way to move. And
yeah,
it's that way with, like you say, lazy karate, lazy movements,
yeah,
move without anything, you know.
yeah, and just that connection, body connection. Like,
Yeah,
the more and more that I think about it, the more that I listen to, kind of great instructors. It's just all about connection, and also just all about the breath being the initiator of everything.
mm.
And even when we're like, we're doing our kind of meditation with Rick Jackson and the importance of breath and the importance of
Yeah, that was great, wasn't
yeah,
it?
and all that kind of stuff. It's just like this all fits together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, yeah, all that, the Shaktras, he said that great line, we did all the Shaktras, and this is, by the way, these don't exist.
yeah,
It was a brilliant line, but there
yeah,
were great ways of visualizing, I mean, putting your breath here, putting your breath here. I
yeah,
found that really interesting. I did a grading, there was a red belt fella, lovely guy with his son, one of those classic bloke.
yeah,
And stop trying so hard.
yeah,
Stop him. You're a
yeah,
big, strong guy,
yeah, yeah,
And I think that's probably mastery, isn't it, really?
yeah,
There's,
absolutely.
there's another Zen story about a spear master, Chinese spear master. He had a spear and he spent like, ages and ages doing the spear. And then finally he got rid of the spear and he was still a spear master, but didn't do anything with the spear. Just
Yeah,
kind of makes sense to me
yeah, yeah, yeah,
in a Zen way.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think we'll always hurt. We're always machines.
Mm,
We're all falling to bits. But like I think we said this before, you can't do young man's karate.
Yeah.
But then don't get old.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. You don't get old.
Yeah. Well, that brings me on to me. Can I go again? Can I ask another question?
Yeah.
So do you ever get nostalgic for when you were just a student?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Good question. Yeah. Well, yeah. I was thinking this. I've thought about this for the past week or so. I wish there was a dojo I could go to once a week. A good dojo with black belts, like Marshall Street was.
Yeah.
I wish I could go to like a Marshall Street around here and just be in the line and do advanced kata and kumite with good people.
Yeah.
Miss that. I really, really miss that. And that's why I did Goju-Ryu for 3 years, because I used to go there and they were, there's only 4 of us, but they were good, tough guys.
Yeah.
And we just trained.
Yeah.
And I was actually thinking about going, that dojo's gone, but I wish I could find something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss that more than anything, because you get worse, and constantly, we've been doing lots of advanced katas at my dojo recently, but it's always me leading it. And yeah, definitely. I think, Amy, I think, yeah, I think your regular karate person needs to train. Karate's like boiling water. Take it off the heat and it's gone.
Yeah. I thought you were going to go to Rick's.
Well, it's not open yet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's my plan. Yeah, my plan is on Fridays is to go to Rick's a bit every week.
Yeah.
And I will do that as soon as I can. That's exactly what I need, really. Yeah. And also, Rick's stress is quite good for me because it's fairly static, fairly based on stuff. Yeah, that's kind of what I need. But Rick doesn't do lots of advanced kata, which is really interesting as well, which is something I've thought about a lot. But yeah, I mean, did you miss that?
Well, okay, certainly I don't need the kind of the training element of it. Because
I don't need the training, but I need the karate element of it.
Yeah, but yeah, I do kind of need to seek out kind of ideas and stuff. So like, a couple of times a year going over to train with Steve Ubel Sensei if I can, and actually we were all planning to go to. Ian Abernethy was doing a course. I don't know if it is, but he was supposed to be doing a course at the end of next month down in Exeter, I think, or something like that. We saw Ross, Tommy, and I saw it on Facebook, and I was like, oh yeah, we should go there, because I had pre-COVID. That was the one weekend I had off from the end of August to Christmas. So I thought, why not fill it with something, And so we were going to go, and one of the reasons why I wanted to go was because I thought, well, I think there'll be kind of loads of interesting ideas there, and just to get a feel for the guy and everything. So I am kind of I do seek out kind of, karate adventures, but they're few and far between. But having said that, I don't know where I would be able to go for regular weekly.
I mean, the only thing you do is probably just, turn up to one of Ross's classes and just put your head down and train. But you don't need to do that. You don't. I mean, I need to do that. I mean, I would like a once a week. Well, I'll do it with Rick when I can. But I'd also like once a week advanced kata class, really. Yeah. Where somebody else chooses the kata, which is not me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which would be really good for me. You're in. I watched your Unsu clip was really good recently, because I tend to sort of give up a bit on Unsu, and then they do it and like it again. And like you say, there's a way to do Unsu, isn't there? Yeah. For everybody. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. And I think most ordinary instructors, not you, but most ordinary instructors, dojo instructors, everywhere around the world, don't train enough.
Yeah.
And a lot in the HDKI, every association, there's lots of talking, and they need to train with other people. I train with Justin when I can. Justin Beatty's got a great dojo. Yeah. And I make it like a matter of sort of principle that I take my brown belts to train with Justin before they do before they're black belts. Yeah. And I was going maybe like once a month, just standing in the line, and he's a great guy, and the students are great. but I'm just me, and I don't say anything, and I just train. And he always has a good class. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I'd still much rather do that than anything else, really.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right.
Your turn.
My turn. Okay. Now I don't see. Now I've got segues into different questions. I'm going to segue straight after this then. Okay, if you could invite, who would you like to invite to teach for us for Christmas course international seminars? Since you've mentioned Ian Abernathy, is there anyone else you'd be interested in inviting?
Well, yeah, like of course, we wanted to invite Ricardo from Mexico for Christmas, but that's not going to happen this year. So hopefully next year. So Ricardo is on my list. I think.
What about like an ideal non-political anyone?
Anyone? Naka.
Yeah, see that was maybe top of my list. What about Tamon Sensei?
Tamon Sensei, yeah. We did invite him.
Yeah, I think maybe. I mean, I'm thinking maybe he's got a push now to build his own group, and I think. Well, yeah.
No, I mean, I don't think he. I think he only teaches within NSKF organizations. So when we invited him, the reason because he didn't come was because we weren't NSKF, and that's fair enough. So he has to prioritize his own group, and I respect that. So if he would come, I would invite him.
What about Peter Constantine?
Yeah, well, we had arranged for all the guys like Ross, Rue, and AJ to go and train with him back in April, and they were going to go over for 3 days to train with him, or 2 days to train with him.
Really good.
But obviously, COVID, blah blah blah, that was cancelled. But yeah, I'd like to train with him. And I think I was just sending the guys first. You go train with him, and if you survive. So that will definitely happen. They'll definitely go and train with him, and maybe we can have some sort of seminar. I don't know how that would work or what the story is, but the problem with people like that is that, not the problem, but like the issue that I would have is that like they like, I think he's a fantastic martial artist and have a huge amount to teach, but how would it work in terms of trying to invite him to one of our technical seminars or one of our grading seminars? It just wouldn't work because there's a lot of people there that are there just to, a lot of people who are there to basically, not there they're basically there to grade. It's a grading seminar, and of course they're there to get some technical input, but those people are the ones that are paying for the daily fees and the expenses and blah blah blah. So I'm not too sure if that would work. If someone,
I think it'd be a specialist sort of.
Yeah, but if we could get 20 people that would commit to it, and the finances worked out, or even if it was a loss, but it was a loss that the company could take, then yeah, so be it. But yeah, well, I'm going to send the boys over first, and if they survive, then we'll see what happens. Right. Yeah. I think who else? I think. Yeah, I don't know really. I think the thing is that up until now, we just invited anybody we want anyway. So it's not
no, we have. No, I'm just thinking in terms of, just for the sake of a question, really. I mean, just to, I mean, we've talked about knackered before. Knackered would be great. Yeah. I mean, we train with Tamon, which is I just like the idea of Tamon Sensei.
Yeah,
who he is. I'd like us to go and train with him again in Japan if we could.
Yeah.
And I just wondered, Paolo Barafino is always worth good value, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. And I'd also like to invite one of the Shorinji Kempo guys. I mean, they would be great.
Yeah, now you're talking. Again,
it's how would it work, How would, because it's so kind of, there's very few people that like us that like seeing what we're doing beyond the box of Shotokan. So, you invite someone who's non-Shotokan, like if you invite someone who does karate but aren't Shotokan, then you're limiting the number of people who would be interested. If you invite someone who's not even doing karate, again, it might be reduced even more. So it's just like when finance is involved, you have to make it sustainable. throw thousands of euro away just because you
But
want
like,
to.
Ian Abernathy's very expensive as well.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just one of those things that you have to kind of constantly judge it and play the numbers and see what works out.
Would Stevie will come?
Well, I don't think he's traveling anymore. Like he's, I
We
mean,
need to go to him, yeah.
he hasn't traveled for years now, right? So I suspect it's a case of if you want to train with him, you go to him.
Yeah.
I'd love to invite him. And I'm not, it's not that I haven't invited him. I have a number of
Yeah.
occasions. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. My turn?
Okay, your turn.
Okay. What do you think makes a successful instructor? And what I mean by this is that there's loads of kind of professional instructors out there. I'm kind of thinking of professional instructors, and like some are really, really super good at karate. Most are good at karate. Some are so. But like you could argue that some are maybe not so good at karate, but really successful, and vice versa. So, what do you think is the key?
Okay, good question. I mean, me and my friend Andrew Carbon have a joke about a certain person who we both know who's absolutely rubbish at karate and has far more students than me and Andrew combined.
Right.
So that's purely down to business.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that is an area I'm less concerned about.
Yeah.
I think we know. I mean, I know Elwin Hall. Elwin Hall was one of the best karate people I've ever trained with. Consider him very important part of my life. Trained him a lot. He's an absolutely terrible karate instructor because he just says, "Do this," and literally no one can.
Yeah.
So to be a good karate instructor, you don't need to be. Well, you need to be, good at karate. You don't need to be world class, and you need to be able to, inspire students, inspire loyalty, and have a good methodology of teaching karate, and keep your students happy, and find that balance between being firm and not firm.
Yeah.
Cause it's very tricky because the classic Mac dojo is everyone loves the instructor, but karate rubbish.
Yeah.
And like I was teaching in Winchcombe on Saturday, and like I was insisting on a compression in the stance.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, it's like the kids are going, "Ooh, my legs are hurting." Like, well, I don't care because this is what you have to do. So I think you need to be a good coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't you think? I think you need to have it. You need to be able to coach people and have a methodology of teaching. So like you and me, we kind of like we've got a kind of trick for every technique.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to teach someone Zenko Tadachi, well, if I'm teaching kids, I've got a game for it. And if I'm teaching adults, I've got like a challenge for it.
Yeah.
And I think you need to know your stuff, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, it kind of occurs to me that just as we're talking about it, like I think kind of karate instructors are kind of unique, aren't they? Because like I often think Alex Ferguson, for example, wasn't particularly known for his football skills, but yet was like one of the best football coaches in the world, right?
Yeah, Jose Mourinho, Jurgen Klopp, a lot of them.
So we have to have kind of like, to be kind of world class, we have to have like the coaching skills of someone like Alex Ferguson, but we also have to have the performance skills of someone like David Beckham, and we also have to have the
you do.
Well, I'm talking about kind of like, well, there's levels and levels, right? But let's say, okay, top level, world class instructor, you've got to be able to coach like, Alex Ferguson. You've got to be able to play like David Beckham, and you've got to be able to entertain like, like you, or
me,
like so you've got to have the patter, you've got to have the personality, the charisma. You've also got to be able to coach and perform. And it's like those three unique traits that in all other walks of life, you don't really normally get. Like say
David Brailsford, who was Team Sky, Team Enios in cycling, which I follow. Team Sky, one of the most successful teams in the Tour de France, has never cycled the Tour de France. And everyone in that team is a far better cyclist than him.
Yeah.
But he's a great coach. You
Okay.
know, yeah. Jose Mourinho never played top level football.
Yeah.
No, you're quite right. But I mean, if you're right, karate is unique in that way that we are expected to be the best guy in the room.
Yeah. But not only the best guy, but the most charismatic, the most kind of the person who can project the personality within a class, and also perform. I think it's kind of quite unique, and I'm sure there are other walks of life where you're doing those three things, but I think also it's really difficult to be all three. I mean, like I seriously think I know that I'm not a particularly good coach. That I think I'm quite a good teacher. That I can teach.
You are a very good teacher, yeah.
But I can't muster the enthusiasm. This is going to sound really bad. But I can't muster the enthusiasm to kind of be wound up enough to make people perform and coach them and get them to their best. That's
right. See, that's because I shout at people, like being shout at people.
Yeah. So like I know my skill set, and being a coach is not one of them. But I compensate by being a good teacher, or like being able to teach well. So that's okay. But I think it's really difficult.
Yeah, but see, the conundrum of this is, if you look at there's a Mac Dojo in my town, and the master, they call him Master So and So. He's rubbish, and he's got more students than me. And the other person I've mentioned is also rubbish. Yeah. But because people don't know anything.
Yeah.
And that's the trouble, because we judge ourselves by the higher standards, hoping they're doing proper karate. But in the non-proper karate world, it doesn't matter if you're any good or not. Yeah. It's how good you are at doing business. I mean, I constantly, this person on his Facebook page website goes like, do karate, and there's a picture like that. No, you don't. I'm not joking. But he has more students than me. Yeah. So it's really weird, because this thing called karate is many things to many people. I really think it's a bit like religion. It's just like
Yeah.
So I mean, what we call high standards and what we call as quality is important. For some people, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's move on from the trauma of people who are less able doing better things than us.
Right. Okay. Right. I'm going to do this one. So, can you? When we go to Japan every year, we always do the best of, worst of. Yeah. Remember that? And I'm going to do this. Can you tell me what was the best class and worst class you've ever had?
The worst was. Yeah. The worst was Asano Sensei.
Oh, you name names. I'll name names. I don't know when I reply. Why?
No, it's the only time I've ever trained with him. So I think it wasn't the worst because I've had worse. It's probably just, it was the biggest difference from my expectation and the actual reality of the class. Right. So I went training expecting something really good, and didn't have that. Now there's nothing technically wrong with it. So I've had other classes where I went and there was a guy in Bristol I went to train with once who was I wrote about it, but like it was Tor was training at this club at the time, and I went along and trained, and I was just like a couple of weeks back from coming back from Japan, and we were 5-10 minutes into the class, and he stopped the whole class and came over to me and he said, "There's so much wrong with your karate, I don't know where to begin."
I've been meaning to tell you that, by the way.
Yeah. Don't worry, I've been hearing that from my instructors in Japan for the last 5 years. Don't worry about it. So, and it was just a horrible class. It was a horrible class, and he didn't know anything. He didn't know what he was talking about. Anyway, so that was probably, on a technical point of view, I've had far worse classes, that being one of them. But in terms of my expectations and the actual what was provided was must have been Asano Sensei. I turned up and me and my friend from university, actually, we went along and trained. He was teaching close by, so we went along. And it was 2 hours, and he stood at the front, didn't demonstrate anything. And he just counted. And he went through the whole grading syllabus. And then he did all the Kihon, and he did all the kata by count slowly, ich, ni, san. We went through it, okay, speed and power, ich, ni, san, and all the Heian katas, teki, basai, dai, maybe. And then we did Gohon Kumite and Kion Ippon Kumite, Ju Ippon Kumite, and then we finished with Ju Kumite, which is quite nice because we were fighting a few of the guys, and like I remember Ashley Bryan, someone dumping them, and everyone else going, oh, like that, you know, looking, and so that it was
not in the syllabus.
Yeah, and it was physical. It was really physical, but zero technical input, and just bog standard grading syllabus stuff. So that was super disappointing. But like, you know, I've spoken to Aiden Triple Sensei about it many times, or about Asano Sensei, and you know, Aiden Sensei's got the utmost respect for Asano Sensei, and made Aiden into what he is. So, you know, I know that he can teach, and I know that he was a real taskmaster, and really pushed people and really
fight everyone. I mean, he was famous for fighting everyone in the dojo.
Yeah,
you know, which I really admire and respect.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know, I know that he's produced really great students, Aiden being one of them, and was super tough in his day, and managed to kind of lead a really large organization. But worst class, yeah, for sure. It was just not what I expected.
Yeah. Best class.
Best class. There's a couple of that have kind of blown my mind, you know. Kato Sensei once spent 2 hours teaching Gidan-Barai. It was unbelievable. Yeah. Like what he did with Gidan, like that's all we did was Gidan-Barai for 2 hours, and it was unbelievable. You know, Kagawa Sensei, just like at the times when he was like just on form, especially in the early days when I didn't know him at all, and just was amazed by his level of flexibility and what he could do with
natural, isn't he? He's a natural.
It's so natural, yeah. He almost had like suction grip feet, you know. Like so, yeah. And like so, the first course that I ever attended, I think it was the second time he was to York University, but so it was the first time I was there, week-long training, and it was like unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it, and that seminar was pivotal in my kind of decision about what I was going to do, you know. Asai Sensei as well, like sometimes he was just like a magician. I think also Steve Ubel, that first time I trained with Steve Ubel, 2007, you know, I looked at, you know, there's 100 people probably in this. Yeah, no, you're there. Yeah. And I looked around, I thought probably
we got it, didn't we?
Yeah, like I thought 95% of people in this room don't know what he's doing, but this is what I've been looking for all my life. Again, pivotal.
Yeah.
You know?
What a famous son of karateka of the time said to me, "Oh, I wasn't impressed." I mean, we went, really?
Yeah.
I remember we're doing that course at somewhere with Kagawa Sensei in the early days. We did Sochin, and like it made me think, oh, I could never do Sochin again. And he grabbed my hips, and he did this, and I'll never forget that sort of amazing thing. Wow, that's what you want me to do.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I can't say, you know, mention those names without also first time I ever trained with Paolo Bleffium Sensei and also Rick Jackson Sensei.
Oh, Rick.
So unique. The first time we were together, well, I went and trained with Rick with you at university, like just unbelievable. Like this guy was just, every word was pure magic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Paolo Blafio Sensei as well, the first time he kicked me Maigeri, I didn't see it coming, like the fastest kick I've ever seen in my life, and also the hardest kick I've ever felt in my life. But completely measured, completely like he could have gone through me and he stopped. But like the speed and ferocity of it was unbelievable. So like, yeah, loads of wonderful classes.
I mean, I think it's like, you know, my credo has always been to train with the best people I could.
Yeah.
And you know, again, going back to, you know, with the regular dojo instructors, don't get stuck in that bubble.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I mean, quite a few people who I really like. I say, you know, there's a course on Saturday, who can't come because I'm teaching.
Yeah.
Right, and I understand that. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
But maybe you need to find a way.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, Rick sessions on Wednesday, they're talking about changing the time because some people can't make it. And I'm thinking, you know what? Change the time, other people can't make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, I want everyone to make it, but you know, it's convenient because I can make it. But if they change the time, I'll make it on another day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
find the way to
Yeah.
do that. You know.
Absolutely.
I mean, just on the. I mean, just I asked this question partly for me because my bigger. And since you mentioned names, well, I remember training with Kokoban Sensei in Norwich,
Yeah.
and I was so excited because I'm not a competition karate person, but I've watched his kumite and it's awesome.
Mm.
And that was the most boring, worst class I've ever been on, and I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
Because and that goes back to what you say is that if you're unique in all activities, karate instructors need to be charismatic, do the business, be entertaining.
Yeah.
And he failed on all those three.
Yeah. I heard. I mean, I was teaching and I was kind of like I was teaching kind of in the next kind of partitioned area, and I kept on trying to look at what he was doing, but well, I heard from you and also a few other guys that were saying. Yeah.
But I tell you what, he impressed me. You know why? Because he sat on the table for the grading for some symbolic reason, and he did the whole thing like this, hand on face, nothing.
Really?
He kept the ramrod back, and the grading was a bit crap actually. But that impressed me more than anything else because the grading was 40 minutes, and he sat with an upright back with no emotion, just like that was the best thing he did, and that was a shame. You know, when you go somewhere and you want something from someone, and you didn't get it.
Yeah. Oh well. And your best?
Oh, well, well, you know, like you, there's loads.
Yeah.
But ultimately, my best really was training with Noya Sensei.
Yeah.
But basically, you train at Marshall Street, and then randomly he'd turn up, normally about once a month.
Yeah.
And you'd probably go, oh, and it was just, and I remember, by that stage, I was in the front row, you know. So I'm in the front row thinking, this is annoying, and that, you know, literally breathing it in.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, someone like there was always a visitor from somewhere. The one guy was a guy from Takashoka was there one day, or a guy from America, and I'm thinking, this is my dojo, and he's annoyed a sensei.
Yeah.
And the class was 50 minutes, always kind of the same, but like non-stop, 50 minutes, and like with annoyed. Yeah, so I know, and hard, but that you know, that was like my memory really. But like you, lots of other memories.
Okay, well, I have my last question for you. I was recently watching I don't know, I don't know how I'd come across it, but it's a promotional video for, I think it was for Tanaka Sensei and Kawada Sensei's new organization. And I kind of like, there was a YouTube channel. Was it Japan Traditional Karate or something like that?
Yes, yeah.
And they had a YouTube channel, so I was kind of scrolling through the YouTube channels. Most of it was in Japanese, and there was a video of him, Tanaka Sensei, making fans, like, you know, like
fans.
Fan.
Okay, yeah.
And he was kind of drawing a picture. I think the title of it was Tanaka Sensei makes a fan.
Okay.
You should Google it or YouTube it.
Oh, I will.
And maybe I dreamt it. I don't know. But like the thing is that he makes this fan, and he kind of paints the picture that is going to go on the fan. It's quite an ornate fan. He's a really good artist. And I was just
wondering where this is going.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking, like, do you think martial artists are just artists who do martial stuff, but they have at their core an artistic streak? So, like, for example, you know, Tanaka Sensei with his fan. Kato Sensei was a fantastic painter, unbelievable painter. You know, you're a stand-up comic, like Rick Houghton.
I'm not Karate Master.
Rick Houghton is a fantastic artist and cartoonist, and I just think I wonder if if karate people, martial artists, are truly artists first with a martial slant.
Okay, there are two schools of martial arts. There's one school are the tough fighters.
Yeah.
And I think some of the, the best martial artists I've ever met are just guys who are tough and can fight, and their karate is purely fighting,
Yeah.
and not much else to them. Higuana Sensei, was fantastic, was brilliant. But someone said to me, like, he's not the guy you want to go for a pint for. So all he'll talk about is Goju-Ryu. But and I think the second tier is, to be Shu-Ha-Ri, Bun-Bu-Yo, you need to have a rounded nature.
Yeah.
And I think the weakness of the hard school, as it were, is they haven't got the other side. So Richard Amos' book, he talks about Asai Sensei coming and do these katas, and half the dojo going, what the hell's he doing? This isn't Shotokan. This is like, we're not going to do that. We're just going to do Shotokan.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good question, because I mean, but the hard guys would look at, I don't know, look at us and go, what are they talking about that for?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a really interesting thing, and we're over there going, what do you mean you don't like pate, or you don't like the McDonald's? But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's something I've lived with. I mean, I come from a very working class background in Liverpool, went to university, and like become this person. So there's a very big dichotomy between what is a martial arts master, and you can kind of see it, can't you?
Yeah.
It's like fighting, and you were smart asses.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We're smart asses. And like, I'm loath of we to say, why can we take the moral high ground? Because we're talking different languages.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott Langley's got really good technique, but could he fight 10 guys in a shed? Do you know what I mean? So Bill Rogers, Bill.
Yeah.
Bill Sensei. Bill is one of the best karate guys I've ever met. A couple of years, well, I don't know. He's like, anyone who doesn't know, but Bill Senpai is one of the, started karate in 1958. Trained with Kato Sensei at Blackfriars. Absolutely one of the best karate men I ever know. Teaches for me every now and again. He did a course for me. Some guy turned up and said, "Oh, I see you doing a Bunkai course." I said, "You're doing it with Bill." And he started doing it. And then, Bill knocked him out because he was disrespectful. But that's Bill, And so, I mean, and Bill said to me, literally, this is not a joke. He said to me, "Oh yeah, me and Dave Hazard, we meet. We're going to meet up next month. We've got this shed, and you go in with someone, and and then you fight till someone doesn't come out. Do you want to come?" I went, "No." I don't want to come, thank you very much. So my feeling is literally in terms of when people talk about karate masters, you've got the hard school and the softies, which is not, we were not the softies.
No.
So so I mean, does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think. There's everything's in a spectrum, isn't it? There's a whole vast, wide spectrum or long spectrum of people who do karate, and I think it's very rewarding when you see someone like Tanaka Sensei, who obviously had a very tough guy image and was a great fighter and pioneer of competition karate within the JKA.
Golden boy, the JKA,
yeah. And then
I got trained in his classes, tough.
Yeah. But like now in his later years, he's the kind of drawing and painting beautiful fans, So like I think that's quite beautiful, really, and I think that should be embraced a little bit more. And finding your inner artist. I don't want to get all cliched about it.
No, you're right. Because also, I mean, again, we always sought the truth on this thing, is Terry O'Neill, who's a man I love and worship. He did a post recently, and he wasn't painting a fan or writing a poem. He was hitting some sort of, stand the man thing.
Oh yeah.
Terry, you don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
You were my hero.
Yeah.
No one, you're the toughest. You're the toughest guy in the world.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that is the split. And again, it's like, Rick says this. He says, turn the other wheel.
Yeah.
And I think that's from my point of view, and maybe in many years your point of view, is you can't be the tough guy, you can't be the smashing guy.
Yeah.
You have to go the other way. And then, sitting with Rick or sitting is actually harder than doing low-level punching the hell out of a pad thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Much harder. I mean, like I did Rick on Wednesday, and like the first half an hour, I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
And you sit there and you think, God, it's really hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's karate on the cushion. I put karate on the cushion.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Is that the end, or do you want one more question?
That was my last one. Have you got one more? Or?
Oh yeah, I have many questions.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you can ask one more, and we'll save the rest until next time.
Well, this year, I've got a big question which I've meant to ask you for ages.
Okay, go on then. Do that one then.
We should do that one. Okay, you asked me on the very first time we ever did this podcast. He goes, you said to me, who are the people you hate?
Oh, did I?
How did they affect your karate? Do you remember that one?
Vaguely, now that you've said it, yeah.
You don't have to answer it.
Who are the people I hate?
Yeah, but when you say, and I answered it because these are people I don't hate, because these are people who basically affect. So I said Elwyn Hall and Craig Ray, because they were the people who affected my karate the most. But they would make a heart sing.
Yeah.
So I'd go in the dojo and I go, oh God, Elwyn's going to come up to me. Yeah. Or Craig's here.
Yeah.
And I, I love them. They were the really big people in my life. So I'm going to ask you that. I might know the answer, but you don't have to answer if you don't want.
Well, no, I think.
I think you need that in your karate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have hate in my heart.
There you go. No, I mean, I don't hate them, but they're the people. Margaret Thatcher never walked into my dojo.
I think a guy called Keith Gullen, who's
I know Keith.
Yeah, 7th, 8th Dan in York, and I used to train with him regularly back in the day before I went to university, and one day I used to go through to York because I was like Shodan, and I was the highest grade in my club, so I used to go to, and there used to be quite a lot of black belts in York, and so I would be bottom of the pile and used to get smacked about. And week in, week out, I'd go there, get smacked about, and then at the end, I'd always say, "Oh, thank you, Sensei, that was great, I'll see you next week." And one day he said to me, he says, "You know what, Scott?" He says, every week you come here, and every week you get beat up, and every week you say thank you. He says, you're too nice to do karate. I was like,
wow. And
it kind of stuck with me. You're thinking, I'll fucking show him. Like, don't call me too nice to do karate. I'll show you one day, So I think there's loads of people. I think there's loads of people that I wouldn't describe it as hate, but kind of what I have is strong rivalries. I look at it in that way, because I think if you're a rival, and Simon Sinek talks a lot about this, the kind of sociology kind of guru who talks about kind of like corporation structures and stuff like that. He talks about the finite rule versus the infinite rule, and about how to structure business. But anyway, he talks about don't have competitors, because competitors you want to beat. Where if you have a rival, you look at them, you go, right, I want to be better than them. What are they doing that's good? And how can I do what they're doing well, plus do what I'm doing well? So through my life, I've always had rivals.
Me too. Yeah. So that, when I went to Rick's with Jackson Centre for the first time, very scared, very tired, and I just thought, well, you have that switch in your head, and I just thought, well, I'm going to do everything he tells me to do.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, but I mean, that was like, and it was, that I think it's really important, isn't it, to have those, to be challenged. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I remember Nick Held from like Nick.
I know Nick. Yeah, Nick. Yeah, I remember doing Kimmy with Nick very clearly. Yeah.
So I remember
And,
Nick Held saying to me once, he says, "Scott, I don't really get you." I was like, "Why is that, mate?" He says, "Because," he says, "obviously you're competitive." He says, "Because you would never have got to the point where you are, you know, without being competitive. But you're the least competitive guy I know." And I kind of went, "Oh yeah," and I kind of like, you know, I don't know, and dismissed it. But really, I think I didn't realize at the time. But like thinking about it now, what it is that I'm not competitive because I don't feel the need to be the winner. I don't feel the need to win. I just feel the need to be better than everyone else. And there's a big difference. Like the difference is that I don't see people as someone I need to beat. I look at people who are better than me and think, how can I be as good as them? And if I do that with enough people, then I end up being one of the best. Because I already have my skill set. But I remember, like not so much now, but like a number of years ago, like 10 years ago, maybe in the dojo, we'd have a number of people that in morning training and instructors training. One was a kind of close quarter grappling guy. He liked to do that. One was a kind of catch point kumite guy. One was a more flowing kind of kumite guy. And whoever I was fighting, I would fight like they did, because I wanted to learn from them and eventually get to this point where I was as good as them. And then all of a sudden I could do all that stuff. And so if I needed to, and I came up against the grappling guy, well then all of a sudden I'm throwing in long techniques and he can't do anything about it. Or the catch point guy, I'd kind of get in and kind of grapple and blah. So it's not that I'm competitive, I'm not. But what I am is always trying to find a rival to spur me on, to kind of keep on pushing me forward. And I do that long enough, everyone else quits, and therefore I end up being the best.
Yeah, but what this is confidence is all. It's all about confidence, isn't it?
In what sense?
Well, in life, if you have the confidence to get up and do something and believe in yourself, you kind of do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I constantly meet people in karate world who just don't have the confidence to do it. And I think it's well, you need ability, but you also need confidence.
Yeah. Also, I think that competitiveness, by its nature, is born from insecurity, because you're looking for that short-term thrill of winning, and it's very vacuous in nature.
And there'll always be someone else who'll beat you.
Yeah. So you win a competition, and that means that right there, at that day, at that time, you were the best, and maybe not.
You were lucky.
Yeah, we're lucky, maybe. And so
that's hollow.
Yeah, it's a hollow feeling. It's vacuous in nature, and so I saw the fallacy in that. I don't remember thinking about it. I always just knew. I always just felt it, that I don't need that. That's not what I need, because it didn't give me what I wanted, and what I wanted was skill and true confidence. I didn't want to go, look at the trophy I've got. It didn't mean anything to me. So yeah, I think as a result, there's not so much, like, go back to the original question. There's loads of people that I don't hate anyone, but there's loads of people that I identified as a rival.
Yeah.
And like even recently, recent events and stuff like that. Like I remember Ross said to me, like he's quite intuitive, and he said, I think you need to find a new rival.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll find a new rival. Yeah.
Here's the new rivals.
New rivals, yeah. So there we go.
Didn't call it a day at that.
Yeah. All right then. Well,
that was good, isn't it? We got away with it.
We did yet again. Well, we'll see what people write in the YouTube comments, and then we'll see.
Well, hopefully, I did this karate at home recently, and it was all very marvelous. And I got one bloke said, "You're an idiot." He was like, "Yeah." I got what I wanted, and I went, "Yeah, you're right. Thank you." Oh, just before you go, please tell us about this Bujin. Is it you're doing a
Bujin TV? Yeah. So
TV, is it? Yeah. What are you doing on that?
So Yeah, well, it's gonna, so all being well, it's going to be released on the 25th of October, which is International Karate Day.
And this is James from the Dojo Bar in Okinawa.
Okinawa, and a few of his contacts, business contacts, they have set up the Netflix of the karate world. So it's basically the same model as Netflix. So it's online. There's a website. There's also a app, Android and Apple App Store and Google Play, and there are lots of different instructors. So Jesse Ankamp is there, Patrick McCarthy. There's a couple of kung fu guys. There's loads of
someone called Scott Langley since he's doing it as well, I believe.
Yeah, so he felt that the Shotokan world was underrepresented in Bujin TV, and so he contacted me and asked me to be a contributor as well. So so I'm in the process of, I was filming for 3 hours today, and we're going to do a few more, and there'll be a load of, there's going to be some of the back catalogue of stuff that I've done before in terms of clips, but also there will be loads of new stuff. And there's loads of different, I think there's 15 instructors at the moment. And he did say lots of them and tell me who they were. And the only two names that I really recognized was Patrick McCarthy and Jesse Ankamp. But that's because they're all different styles. So because he's in that unique position.
You're in it, which is good.
Yeah. But he's he's in that unique position that he knows really good people from all different styles. Just because
we've been in the Dojo Bar, and Dojo Bar is that melting pot of everything. We met Patrick McCarthy there, didn't we? That was amazing.
So that's what we're doing. Should be quite exciting, really. I'm looking forward to it. And as I said to him, just give me a project. I'm so bored not traveling. So this is like a godsend. Yeah. So I'm going to just do loads of filming. And
find a new rival. Be better than some Okinawan master you've never met.
Yeah. But it'd be really good just to see what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it will be like a Netflix, and there's going to be lots of different. So there's like a short 3 to 5 minute videos, and then longer 10, 12-minute videos, and then kind of seminar videos. And also they're going to do live events, so you can like a premium kind of live event for people streamed and stuff, and also podcasts and blah blah blah. So there we go.
And, this is a classic case of the best of times being in the worst of times being at the best of times.
Absolutely.
James has lost the Dojo Bar's closed. James has lost it.
Yeah.
And he's reinvented himself and done something. Really positive.
Yeah. So there we go. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sensei.
Boss. Until next time. Cheers.
Oh, you're finished. Left yours.
Us.
Us.